If you want to build an app but you don't know where to start, this is going to be the only video you need to watch. This is going to be an entire free course going over from idea all the way to scaling it up of how to build your mobile app. And if you don't know me, my name's Alex Hayden, and I just brought my last app paid from 0 to 5,000 downloads and 6 figures in annual recurring revenue. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did it step by step with real case studies, so that way you can just go and do this for yourself. So let's dive in. So how do you come up with your idea? This is probably the #1 place where people get stuck, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it right now. So you're going to go to sensortower.com, and basically this shows you how much money apps are making. And I like to look for apps that are making at least $50,000 per month. And I like to just search different things that I'm interested in, and I am interested in kind of like finance. And so I found a budgeting app called Buddy, the budget planner app. And as we can see here, it did $50,000 in revenue last month, and it got 70,000 downloads last month. And so this shows me that it works, right? Okay, if something made $50,000 last month, there's no reason you can't build something similar and make $5, $10, $15, $20,000, $50,000 plus. Maybe you can do it way better than them. So like this shows us that it is an idea that is working. So like it is an idea that we should go and build. So once I find my idea using something like sensortower.com, and you can kind of see some of their screenshots here, then I head over to the next website, which is mobbin.com. And so what Mobbin allows you to do is it allows you to see the different screens, every single screen inside of that app. And so as you can see here, you can go to the different flows, and I can see their entire onboarding flow here. Okay, so we can see their exact onboarding process. I can see exactly how they get people to subscribe to premium. I can literally see every single screen imaginable to take inspiration, not copy, like not blatantly copy, that's bad taste, but to take inspiration to build my own version, okay? And you can even see down here, you can literally paste this into Mobbin's Figma plugin to make the design stage that much easier, okay? So this is how you get your idea, and this is kind of how you go about starting to validate it. It's already validated if it's making money. And so the next phase that we have to do once we have our idea, which is, again, find something that's making money, is we have to actually go and design it. And now there's a few different things that we could do to go about designing it, okay? So the first thing that we can do is we can use an AI tool like create.xyz. So let me log in here. Okay, so as you can see here inside create.xyz, just from a few prompts, I've been able to start designing the actual screen of what I want it to look like. You can see I'll go back to the very top where I did my first prompt. You can see super simple. Build me an iOS app that displays my finances with only 3 numbers: income, expenses, and bank balance, and make it so I can toggle to view these stats for the day, week, and month. And so it's so simple. And then something that we're going to want to do to differentiate ourselves from the apps that we are finding for inspiration is, I like to say, you want to Gen Z-ify your app. You want to make it, more fun to use. You want to make it, kind of think about how Duolingo made learning a language fun. You want to make your app more fun to use. We've seen, I've seen companies call themselves like, hey, we are like if Duolingo and this app had a baby. And they're kind of like Gen Z-ifying it, making it more fun, making it almost like more brain rot-esque even. And so I decided to make this so that way when you put in your expenses, it roasts you in the same language that Gen Z would. So let's see if this will work. So say I spent $25 on lunch. And so this is one option for how you can go about designing it. And again, I could go out and build the different onboarding pages and stuff inside here as well. You scan on your phone, you can play around with this on Expo on your phone. So this is one option, is you can design it on an AI tool like create.xyz. Now, another option that you could do is you go to something like 99 Designs, and you could pay someone $600 to design it for you, which I know that's some money, but basically a bunch of people will compete to get the best design for you. And so if we go and we find app design, you can see there's 3,000 plus designers. And so you can go and use something like this. And so you can go ahead and choose a designer from 99 Designs, and you can do it that way. Or you can basically, again, just keep doing it inside of Create or one of these other AI tools, okay? Now, once we get the design done, we have to actually start to, now, one of the most important things about the design is to nail your onboarding flow. And that's why we use Mobbin to look for inspiration, because it's very, very important that you almost treat this like a sales call, because like 90% of conversions are going to come in the first minute. And so as you can see here, like one, you want to obviously have them sign in and make their account so you get their email. But so it's very important to like understand their goals and to treat this like a sales call. You're trying to figure out their pain points, their goals in the onboarding flow. And so as you can see here, they tell you how your trial works. We can see here, they show a lot of social proof. They have 18K plus reviews. And so they're using all that social proof. And then you can see on the actual subscribing to premium onboarding, they basically give you a big fat discount for going with the annual plan, which is a very, very common tactic for mobile apps. Is they have a huge discount if you go on the annual plan. So it says save 57% by doing the annual. And you can see it's only, they break it down weekly. They say, hey, you're only paying $1, or I can't quite read that. I think it says like $1.38 per week or something like that, which is obviously, when you break it down like that, it doesn't seem like a lot at all. So make sure that you nail this onboarding flow and that you build it in a very similar manner to them. Like I said, change the branding, Gen Z-ify it a little bit more. Like I would brand this towards Gen Z and like budgeting for Gen Z specifically, because remember, when we get to our marketing, that's how we're going to be marketing. That's how we're going to get to go viral on TikTok, on Instagram with creators, okay? So it's really important to nail the onboarding flow and to build something similar to what's already working. Treat it like a sales call. And also, like, going back to the design a little bit, like let's just look at some of these others. Like, you want to build screens that are easily screenshotable that people would want to share. So when I just showed that example of mine in Create, is like I made it so that the chat will roast my expenses. And so that's something that's very easy for me to screenshot and then like share it to my story, because it's funny if I buy a coffee and they're like, they roast me in some way. And so think about making things that can be screenshotable and shared to your story, because it's funny, because it's entertaining, stuff like that. Now, before we dive into actually how to go about developing your app, before we get into development, we want to build a swipe file of the top videos in our niche. So you're going to go on TikTok and you're just search the niche of your app. So I put in budget app here. I'm going to go and check out all these different accounts and all the top videos. And I'm going to make a swipe file of the top like 20 to 30 videos that did well promoting different budgeting apps. And then I'm going to start reaching out to 5 to 10 of those creators per day. And I'm just going to say something like, hey, I'm building an app that is like for budgeting for Gen Z. I'm looking for creators to promote it. What are your rates? And, we're looking for people that we can pay. Like, we're looking for very small creators. We're looking for people that we can pay like $20 to $30 per video plus $1 per 1,000 views. And so we're going to send 5 to 10 DMs of that per day until we lock in like 5 to 10 creators to start that they'll be expected to make, like 15 to 30 videos per month at a minimum. And so this is how we're able to do everything, keeping this on a very low budget between, again, the design, building it, the creators. We're keeping everything very, very small budget, so that way you don't need to have a lot of money to get started and succeed in this. And I'm going to show you guys everything about how I actually went about doing this. And so we're going to create that swipe file. And now let's actually talk about development and your different options for development. So going back to this, I could actually develop this entire app inside of create.xyz. You can see I've got a little bug here that I'd have to fix. So I would say, there's an error of a database connection. It says is not defined. So I'll let it know the error and it'll go and fix that. But so basically this is called like vibe coding, to where I could go back and forth with this AI and I could build this entire app. It's super easy. Like I come into here, I would enable user accounts that automatically adds like user sign up, sign in, stuff like that. So I could vibe code this entire app using one of these AI tools. The pros of that is it costs, next to nothing. Like, creates like $20 a month, $100 a month for like the best plan or something. So very, very affordable. Now the downside of it is I'm not a technical person. And so like, I've heard stories of people vibe coding apps and then they have some sort of, security breaches, like they didn't build it securely, they didn't build it properly, and then all different types of, issues can stem from that. So someone like myself that's not technical, and has a little bit of money laying around, I just preferred pay people to build it for me still. So I paid people to build the paid app. But you can also you can find, software developers that can build you a mobile app for like 3 to like 8K, like pretty simple apps, which depending on who's watching this, maybe that's a lot of money to you, maybe it's not. I think that's a pretty good deal considering how much money it used to be, even 5-10 years ago to have an app built. And so those are kind of your two different options. Is like you can really vibe code it, or you can pay someone, or you technically do have a third option, which is find a technical co-founder and give them equity in your company to go out and build this for you. But I would not recommend giving them like any more than like 10% equity, because again, it's like, why would you give up 50% of your company for something that you could have just went and paid a couple $1,000s for? So those are your options for like actual development. And so now let's just assume that, it's been, you vibe coded over the weekend, it's been a week later, it's been a month later, whatever it is, and it's done. And now we're like, okay, like let's get to the marketing part of it. Like let's actually go and talk about that. Okay, so now you're going to go to wop.com. And you're going to create a new WAP for your app. You're going to come to this Earn tab. You're going to hit Add an App. You're going to make a content reward. You're going to name this. So I would just, whatever, budget app. And then choose, this is UGC. We are a software. And say we're doing $1 per 1,000 views. Minimum payout, let's do 10. Max, let's do 500. And let's do a flat fee of $15 per post. Boom. And let's say it's on Instagram and TikTok. Give them the asset links. So this is like, basically like your creator brief of the types of videos that you want your creators to make. I'll show you an example after this. And then you can make any requirements, audio requirements, and then you would just hit continue. And then boom. Oh, whoops. I didn't put my total budget of 1,000. Boom. Now you can see that was created. I would just have to actually load this budget now. And then creators are going to flood posting about your app. And then this is where like the real sauce is. Like one, it's like, you're buying essentially 1 million views there, right? And so on top of that, you're going to take the best performing videos from these creators and you're going to run them as a TikTok Spark ad. And these are going to get you lucrative results. And I'm actually going to hop into my TikTok ads manager and show you the types of results that I was getting from running these myself. Okay. So as you can see here, I'm inside of my TikTok ads manager. And I was running these ads as Spark ads. And as you can see, I only spent like a total of, let's see, like a little bit over $300. Look at this. This was getting a 17-cent cost per click. This one was getting a 3-cent cost per click. This is insane. And look at how low of a CPM I was getting, which is cost per 1,000 impressions. Super, super low. As you can see here, and I didn't have the cost per, and so I didn't have the conversion tracking set up yet. But as you can see, I was getting insane amounts of clicks. I got, let's like 2,300 clicks or something like that. These were getting insane results. And I was also running some Google ads, just like basically like search ads when people would search things around paid. But now I'll go and show you the actual results of, what this did for the downloads on the graph. And I'll show you how crazy it was. And so as you can see, we were literally doing like anywhere from like 30 to 50-ish downloads like every single day, or sometimes like 10, 20, like whatever. Like we were just doing that, we're doing that. And then we finally found some videos that were starting to do well. And then this was when I started running ads to them. So you can see we went 49, 99, 171, all the way up to 945 downloads in a day. So then 161, 157, 89. And then I actually turned the ads off because then we were acquired. So I turned the ads off. But even like, 2 days ago at the time of recording this, you can see we had a big spike of 123 because we had a creator make a video that did pretty well again, which led to the spike. And so whenever you're doing this creator marketing, you can usually find, like, even like you can see like this is like a little spike here with 111. So there was probably a video that did pretty well that day. So you can always go back and usually find these spikes and then attribute it to, okay, this creator's video did really well on this day. Like this creator's video did well first, because it's hard to actually track everything properly, right? And so especially with the organic videos, so you can go back through these spikes, like, okay, this creator posted on this day. We had a lot of downloads this day. Like we should probably, have this creator do more videos. And so this is the exact strategy of how I did this, from how I got the idea, of how I built the onboarding process. Like Paid's got a self-selling onboarding process. The last step of Paid's onboarding is to share with a friend. So we actually, if we go, let me show you this. If I go to our overview here, so we had a lot of referral shares as a part of it. And this is exactly how I was able to scale Paid. And so as you guys can see, like it's not easy, but it can actually be simple to start an app, because you just choose an idea that it's working. You look at the screens of the app that's working. You build something similar. Either, you design a self-selling onboarding flow. You then either vibe code the app or pay a team. And then you launch a content reward on WAP for performance-only creators, and then run ads to the top-performing creatives. And that is the playbook to go from nothing to thousands and thousands of downloads and actually making revenue with a mobile app. Anyone can do this in 2025. And you guys want to do this and you want to work with me, or you want to work with my development team, All the links are in the description. You can join my WAP group. I stream a couple times per week showing you guys how to build mobile apps for free. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.